Hey everyone, welcome back to Music City Workshop and to Toolbox episode number 1, What is Music? Okay, so what do we mean by music here at Music City Workshop? That's a good question. Music, what is music exactly? Wait, do you guys hear that? Do you hear that? Hey, it's Keys. Hey Keys. Let me introduce you all to Keys. Keys is our trusted assistant and helper here at the workshop. Keys is aptly named because he's really good at explaining key concepts to us when we need it. His official name is Milton B. Rutherford Keys III, but we just call him Keys. So as you can see, the definition of music is the formal organization of sound for aesthetic or expressive purposes. Okay, the formal organization of sound, got it. So that makes sense. That's fairly simple, right? Music is organized sound for expressive purposes. Okay, great. So I also see that the word sound here is highlighted in orange. So what do we mean by sound then? Aha! Okay, thanks, Keys. So sound is an auditory sensation caused by an event in which pressure disturbances move through a medium via waves. Got it. So some type of event causes disturbances in a medium, and in this case, that medium is the air around us. And those disturbances then turn into sound waves that move through the air. Okay, that makes sense. But what are some examples of things that can cause disturbances in the air? Any idea? Like, what are some things that could cause disturbances in the air? How about a drum? Would that work? Let's see. So we've got this drum and this mallet, right? Can this cause disturbances in the air? Let's see. So when I hit the head of the drum with a mallet like this, the head of the drum vibrates, right? And then those vibrations move through the air. So those vibrations moving through the air are called sound waves. So I hit the mallet onto the drum head, that vibrates the drum head, and that causes vibrations in the air, which are called sound waves. Okay, great. Now we understand how sound waves are created. But the next question is, how do we hear these sound waves moving in the air? Any ideas? Okay, I'm trying to think back. So I think I remember that humans perceive sound by converting these sound waves into electrical signals in our inner ears. I'm pretty sure I remember that. So how does this work? So these sound waves are moving through the air, right? And they are disturbing the air. These sound waves get close to our ear. So the outer ear collects the sound waves, and then our inner ear directs the sound waves through the inner ear to the eardrum. So these sound waves are directed to the eardrum, and then the eardrum vibrates, and then that then vibrates 3 tiny middle ear bones that amplify the sound wave. Okay, so the sound wave is being amplified in the inner ear. Then that sound wave travels to the cochlea where there's a fluid and tiny little hairs are bending back and forth in the fluid. And that bending of the tiny hairs in the fluid turns the sound wave that was previously moving through the air into an electrical signal in your inner ear. So now we're at the point where the sound wave is now an electrical signal in your inner ear. Then what happens? So then that electrical signal goes to the auditory nerve in your brain, and that travels to the brain's auditory cortex. So you can see here in orange, the area in orange here is your brain's auditory cortex, and that's found in the temporal lobes on both sides of your brain. So that signal goes down through the auditory nerve, goes to the auditory cortex in your brain, And in the auditory cortex, that electrical signal is interpreted by your brain as a sound. So now we understand how we have something, an event that disturbs the medium, which is the air. Sound waves are created. Those sound waves are collected by our outer and inner ears. It moves through all of the different parts of our inner ear. It's changed into an electrical signal. That electrical signal is then moved through the auditory nerve until it reaches the auditory cortex. And at that point, the brain changes that electrical signal into a sound. Okay, got it. Understood. That makes sense. So then that means that music is actually an auditory phenomenon, right? It involves hearing organized sounds. So music is the hearing of organized sounds. Okay, got it. So what about other disciplines and art forms, right? Music is one art form. We know that music is an auditory phenomenon. What about all the other art forms and disciplines out there, right? What about video and visual arts and dance and fashion and all the other disciplines and art forms? So basically, these other art forms can be combined with music to form other forms of entertainment. But music is an audio art form in and of itself. It's separate and distinct from all the other art forms based on auditory phenomenon. So now we know what music is, and we know what sound is, and we know how sound is created as it moves through the air, through our inner ears, and through the brain. Let's see, what's the last thing that we need to know here? We need to know, are there different systems of music? So what do we think? Are there different systems of music on Earth that we've heard and that we're aware of that are not quite the same? So let's see, where would we find different systems of music on Earth? I would say we have particular music from Western Europe. We have particular music from North America, Latin America, and South America. And I would call all of those different areas, the music that's produced in those 4 different areas, I would call that the first system of music, right? Western European music, North American music, Latin American music, and South American music. So that's system number 1. But that's not the only type of music that we have in the world, right? We also have music from Africa, and we also have music from India, and we also have music from Asia. So all of these different areas and countries have their own specific system of music. So as you can see, that's a lot of music to learn, right? All at the same time. So here at Music City Workshop, we're going to be focusing just on the first system of music, Western European, North American, Latin American, and South American music for these Toolbox episodes. So what do we call this first system of music? This first system of music that we're going to be focusing on is called Western tonal music. Okay, thanks, Keys. So Western tonal music, how do we define that? Western tonal music is defined as a system of music dominant in Western classical music and popular music around the years 1600 to 1900. And it's defined by the organization of pitch, something called pitch, around a central note. So we'll go more into this in the next Toolbox episode, but basically it's a specific system of music called Western classical music around 1600 to 1900, and it involves the way that we organize pitches around a central note. So that's basically what we're going to be focusing on here in our Toolbox episodes at the workshop. Okay, so this has been a great start here. So we learned a lot. We discovered a lot. Let's go through. Hey, do you guys hear that? Do you hear that? Hey, what's up, Retro? So let me introduce Retro. Retro is also another assistant that we have here at the workshop. Retro basically, he'll show up from time to time and give us a brief summary of all the things that we've learned and discovered throughout a particular episode. So thanks, Retro. So let's see, Retro, can you tell us all the things that we discovered today in this episode? So, right, we discovered that the definition of music is the formal organization of sound for aesthetic or expressive purposes, right? We went through that, got it. Then what did we do? Then we discovered that sound is an auditory sensation caused by an event in which pressure disturbances move through a medium via waves. Okay, right, yep, I remember that, got that. Then we went through all the different processes whereby a sound is created. The sound waves move through the air, they're captured by the ear, they move through the auditory nerve, and they go to the auditory cortex in your brain, and they're changed into a sound by the brain. We did do that as well. Then the last thing that we did, right, oh, also we learned that music is an auditory phenomenon. And then the last thing that we did is we learned what Western tonal music is. So again, Western tonal music is a system of music dominant in Western classical music and popular music from around the years 1600 to 1900. And it's defined by the organization of pitch around a central note. Cool. Thanks, Retro. Appreciate it. Okay, everyone. That's it for Toolbox episode number 1. So hope you had a good time here and you learned a lot. Please leave any questions that you have down below. And join us for next time. We're going to have episode number 2 in the Toolbox, and we're going to be talking more about pitch. We're also going to be diving into the piano keyboard. Thanks, everyone. Bye.